The title of today's worship service is Keeping the Dream, and I plan to talk about that a little today, and I want you to talk about it too, which is why you're seated at tables. I want to hear about your hopes and dreams for yourselves, for this congregation, and for our wider world. So be prepared to do a little talking and sharing later on in the service. We're going to start our worship service today in the usual way by lighting our chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. And do we have a volunteer from our kids section to do that? Chloe, you want to come up and do it? Okay, come on up and help Miss Barbara. Thank you. Thank you. I invite us to hear these opening words by the poet Rosemary Watola Tromer. She writes, "Wherever we go, the chance for joy, whole orchards of amazement, one more reason to always travel with our pockets full of exclamation points. So we might scatter them for others like apple seeds. Some will dry out, some will blow away, but some will take root and grow exuberant groves filled with long, thin fruits that resemble one hand clapping, so much enthusiasm as they flutter back and forth that although nothing's heard and though nothing's really changed, people everywhere for years to come will swear that the world is ripe with applause, will fill their own pockets with new seeds to scatter." Let's fill our pockets with exclamation points this morning. Come, let us worship together. Please rise in body or in spirit and join me in singing our opening hymn, number 151, "I Wish I Knew How," and that's going to be up on the screen or in our hymnal.
I am wow. I am so happy to see everyone this morning. You guys look great. All right. I have a book that I'm going to share, and it is by a rock star poet that I'm really excited about. It's called Change Sings, a Children's Anthem, and it was written by Amanda Gorman, and Lauren is our illustrator. What do y'all notice about the book cover? What do you see? A giant guitar, that's right. What do you see? A lot of colors. All right. Change sings. I can hear change humming in its loudest, proudest song. I don't fear change coming, and so I sing along. I scream with the skies of red and blue streamers. I dream with the cries of tried and true dreamers. Who's this right here in this picture? Does anyone recognize him? Martin Luther King, that's right. I'm a chant that rises and rings. There is hope where my change sings. Though some don't understand it, those windmills of mysteries, I sing with all the planets and its hills of histories. What do you notice them doing? What are they doing? And that's right, they're helping to clean our earth and take care of it. I hum with 100 hearts, each of us lifting a hand. I use my strengths and my smarts, take a knee to make a stand. She's serving others to help. She has helping hands too. I'm bright as the light each day brings. There is love where my change sings. I show others tolerance, though it might take some courage. I don't make a taller fence, but fight to build a better bridge. I talk not only of distances from where and how we came. What are you noticing now? They've drawn a picture of America with chalk, that's right. I also walk our differences to show we are the same. I'm a movement that roars and springs. There's a wave where my change sings. It's a parade of kids, right? In New Orleans, we call this the second line. Change sings where? There, inside of me, because I'm the change I want to see. As I grow, it grows like seeds. I am just what the world needs. I'm the voice where freedom rings. You're the love your bright heart brings. She's sharing more and more instruments. Her voice is getting stronger and bigger. We are the wave starting to spring. We are the change we sing. We're what the world is becoming, and we know it won't be long. We all hear change strumming. Won't you sing along? That's it. That's the end of our story today. Thank you for joining me up here. I know it sometimes takes a lot of bravery to come in front of the church and do that, and I want to say thank you. We're going to go downstairs and have our own World Cafe and talk about some ways that we can help others and take care of ourselves too. Okay? All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Sunday.
Yes, ma'am.
Please join me in singing the children out, hymn number 413. It's on the screen.
Good morning. Is everybody comfortable? Change things. The reading this morning is by Margaret Wheatley. There is no power greater than a community discovering what it cares about. Ask what's possible, not what's wrong. Keep asking what's possible. Notice what you care about. Assume that many others share your dreams. Be brave enough to start a conversation that matters. Talk to people you know. Talk to people you don't know. Talk to people you never talk to. Be intrigued by the differences you hear. Expect to be surprised. Treasure curiosity more than certainty. Invite in everybody who cares to work on what's possible. Acknowledge that everyone is an expert about something. Know that creative solutions come from new connections. Remember, you don't fear people whose story you know. Real listening always brings people closer together. Trust that meaningful conversations can change your world. Rely on human goodness. Stay together. Here ends the reading.
Now is the time for our ritual of joys and concerns. This is a moment of intimate sharing for this faith community, a time when we're invited to reflect on our personal lives and those heartfelt experiences we've had during this week. Joy and sorrow, gratitude and disappointment, worry and peace, these are feelings common among us, and this is our time to honor these sacred moments and our sacred milestones. For our ritual, we have a community bowl of fresh water, a precious natural resource that we use sparingly. We also have stones, smooth and heavy in our hands. These stones symbolize life's pleasures, times of ease, life's burdens, and times of heaviness. Those who wish to participate in this ritual are asked to submit their joy or concern in advance. or at the end, you may simply raise your hand when invited to do so, and we'll place a stone in our community bowl for you. We lost two longtime members of our beloved community this week. First, we learned of the passing of Richard Hoffer on January 24th, and his wife, Gloria Hoffer, is also a longtime member. So we will place a stone in memory of Richard and all his service to the church, and to Gloria in her grief. Our loving thoughts are also going out to the family of Lenore Barnett, who passed away just on the 27th. She was in hospice care, and again, our thoughts go out to her family, and cards may be sent to her home address where her children will be staying for a while. There will be a celebration of her life later probably in June, and we will share the details when we have them. Our loving thoughts go out to Bill Elder, who recently has lost several friends. Bill Seals and another good friend, Arnold Smith. Bill, our thoughts are with you. Reverend Terry has asked that we place a stone in the water bowl for those who have loved ones in this country who have been in the mass shootings this year. There have been so many already, and it's only January. There have been 40 such shootings since January 1st. A stone. I also have cards from Helen B., who wishes for us to place a stone of remembrance for the Holocaust Remembrance Day recently observed. And a stone from CB for our Jewish brothers and sisters who continue to be the victims of persistent prejudice. And finally, Susan W. shares that she spoke with Ann B. yesterday. Ann wants you to know she misses everyone, but she's not strong enough to come to services yet. She is facing another procedure soon, and perhaps some surgeries. So our hearts go out to Ann B., and I'm sure cards would be welcome. And now, if you would raise your hand, and we will place a stone in silence for you today. And we also place one final stone for those concerns which may have been held in silence among us. May all of your thoughts and prayers today be held in this loving community. Amen.
Now's the time for our offering. An offering is not just a financial contribution to this congregation, it also represents, I think, a wish. My guess is that we have wishes for ourselves, for those we love, and for the community and the world that we care about. And we wish, we hope, that this faith community can make a difference in our lives. I invite you today to give what you can with your sacred wishes in mind. Our offering will now be taken and gratefully received. Please join me in the dedication of the offering, which is found on our screen and in your order of service. To the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our offerings and the best of who we are. About a month ago, the members of the Stewardship Committee and I met in my office around a little black table that I have there. Liz and Ed Law were there, as were Lee Nichols and Jerry Medeiros. The conversation started out about we were talking about the upcoming pledge campaign, but eventually our talk opened up to a larger one about our hopes and dreams for this congregation. Well, I've been thinking about hopes and dreams since. Having them seems like a very human thing, something that starts perhaps when we're very young. I imagine each of you can think back to a hope or a dream that you had as a child. In our American culture, our hopes and dreams are sometimes found in the response to the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, for me, a child of the 1960s, my dream was crystal clear. Hands down, I wanted to be that girl. You know, the character Anne Marie that the actress Marlo Thomas played on the TV sitcom called That Girl? Well, I wanted to live in a big city like her. I wanted to live in a cool apartment like her. I wanted to be an actress like her. I wanted long blonde hair that flipped on the ends like her. I wanted a nice boyfriend like Donald like her. I wanted to be single, independent, a woman just like her. Well, how am I doing? Let's see. I'm married. I live in the suburbs. I have very short hair, and I'm a lesbian. So I guess I missed the mark just a little bit. Well, I liked and I still like that girl. I like her so much that I have a That Girl lunchbox with her on it. Isn't she great? Don't we look alike? My lunch is in here for later on when we meet with the choir. Well, Anne-Marie is still my hero, even though my life looks nothing like hers. And that's a good thing. Hopes and dreams, I think, are meant to guide us to something bigger than today. And sometimes our hopes and dreams can get trapped in the conventions of today. I think hopes and dreams are meant to invite us to something bigger, something than we can maybe even imagine in this moment. And they don't necessarily have to have the last word on our final destination. When Liz, Ed, Lee, Jerry, and I met around my little black table several weeks ago, we agreed that we wanted to have, before launching a pledge campaign, a conversation. We wanted to have a conversation about who we are and why we're part of this faith community. We wanted to talk about what our dreams are for ourselves and for our wider world, which is what brings me to what we're going to do today. The cafe setting that we've created here is meant to facilitate a discussion process known as the World Cafe Method. There's actually something called the World Cafe Method. It's a simple process, it's a flexible format, and it's used around the globe, and it's designed to host large group dialogue like we're going to have today. Now, I first learned about it at the UUA General Assembly several years ago, and I used it at the Atlanta congregation that I served. And Liz Curtis was also familiar with World Cafe, so we got very excited when we knew we had that experience in common. There's 5 components to the World Cafe process. The first is to create a special setting, most often modeled after a cafe, and I think Liz and the rest of the volunteers did an excellent job with that. And the second component is a welcome and an introduction, which is what I'm doing now. The third component, and this is where you come in, is holding rounds of small group discussions. For our World Cafe, we're going to have 4 rounds of conversations, each lasting 5 minutes. We're going to time them. I know that's not very long, but the idea is that we're going to move quickly and not edit our thinking. And that brings me to the fourth component, which is the questions themselves. Each of the 4 rounds of conversations we'll have at our tables will start with a question. Ed's going to put the question up on the screen, and I'll also announce the question for those who may be watching our live stream from home, and I know a few people are today. And you're going to have 5 minutes to talk about the question, and you'll see there's markers and crayons on your table, and you're invited to jot down your responses directly on the brown paper on the table. They can be a collective response that you came up with your conversation partners, or it can just be your own feelings and thoughts. But the idea is we're going to capture your comments on these brown pieces of paper. And if your paper gets too full as we go through our questions, our volunteers put a second piece of paper underneath. And while we're talking and drinking our coffee, our terrific pianist, Michael Jeffrey Stevens, is going to play some music to keep our spirits lively like a real cafe. And then when our 5 minutes is up for that first question, I'm going to ring a chime, our Tibetan bowl here, and then I'm going to ask you to do something else. And I hope this part won't take too long. And that is, I'm going to ask for 2 people from each table to exchange places with 2 people from another table. Because right now, I bet most of you are sitting with your significant others and friends. But the idea is as we go through our questions, you're going to be sitting with new people and having new conversations, just like the reading that Liz did. And when all this is over, the 5th component is called Harvest. We're going to take all these pieces of brown paper with all your musings on them, and somebody is going to synthesize them. And we're going to play back to you what you said with regard to how you feel about why you're here, why you stay here, and what you want. Okay? And if you're watching from home and you want to participate, just email your responses to either Liz Curtis or myself. Okay? Has everybody got that? Okay. So before we begin, I just want to share with you some musings that Liz shared with me when we started talking about this process. And Liz wrote these down for me, and she said I could share them with you. She wrote, "We live in an era of opportunity with chaos knocking at the door." It is so true. How shall we respond? Let's say we're in troubling times. Nothing new there. We have always been in troubling times in one way or another. When it seemed things were going well, were they? What patterns did we not see? What patterns are we not seeing right now? How does one congregation in Hendersonville contribute to the work ahead? What is our unique calling? How do we contribute? What is our voice meant to say? What is our place in the opportunity and chaos of our time? That was written by Liz Curtis. And I thought those were wonderful questions to wrestle with. So, let's begin. Does everybody have a marker who wants one? Because we got plenty of those. Ed, can you put the first question on the table? Oh, he's even got a timer. Oh my gosh, this is great. Okay, question number 1 is, what are the gifts we give one another? What are the gifts we give one another? There's no wrong answer. The hint is love. You've got 5 minutes. Let's talk and write. Okay, time's up. Put your markers down, please, like in a test. Okay, now, as efficiently as you can, 2 people from each table, I want to invite you to go to another table. And we have enough empty chairs, and there's 1 empty table over here on the side, so our tableless group can infiltrate. So let's change. Okay, everybody found a new home? 2 stayed, 2 left, okay? All right, we're on our second question, and it is, what are the gifts we give to our community outside our doors? So not what we give to each other, but what we give to our community outside our doors. Okay, let's talk. Okay, how's it going out there? Okay, so far so good? Oh, great. Okay, third question. Ed's going to put on the screen, I think. No moving this time. Let's just hang where we are for right now. Okay. What are some of our greatest resources? And we're talking about UUFH. What are some of our greatest resources? And the hint is time, treasure, and talent. Okay. Okay, time's up for that question. Before we go to our last question, doesn't Michael play so wonderfully? And since this is our last question, I invite you to go back to your original tables. Oh, okay. Well, that's a good response. Okay. I hope you've been having some good conversations, meeting some new people. Okay. Everybody found their original people? Okay. Okay, everybody. Last question. Last question. This is a big one. So, dream big. Okay, big, big. And put aside any conventional thinking or those things that tend to limit us, make our dreams small. We may not be able to save the world, but we can serve the world. In what ways do we want to serve the world, sharing the resources that we have? There's a little hint there, but dream big. 5 minutes. Okay. How was it? Fun, I hope? Interesting? Surprising? Thank you so much for being willing to participate. To close this part of the service, I'm going to invite all of you to join me in a responsive reading. The little green inserts in your order of service have the words, but Ed is also putting them up on the screen. And it's the reading that Liz shared with us that was so powerful. I thought we should say it out loud together. So I'll read the regular type, and you respond by reading the type that's in italics. There is no power greater than a community discovering what it cares about.
Ask what's possible, not what's wrong. Keep asking.
Notice what you care about.
Assume that many others share your dreams.
Be brave enough to start a conversation that matters. Talk to people you don't know.
Talk to people you never talk to.
Be intrigued by the differences you hear.
Expect to be surprised.
Treasure curiosity more than certainty.
Invite in everyone who cares to work on what's possible.
Acknowledge that everyone is an expert about something.
Know that creative solutions come from new connections.
Remember, you don't fear people whose story you know.
Real listening always brings people closer together.
Trust that meaningful conversations can change your world.
Rely on human goodness.
And then the last line all together, stay together. Amen, beautiful people. I'd like to, before we close, invite Becky Reed, our board president, and Peggy Law, our board vice president, up for a special announcement.
I brought the words too. Okay.
Okay. Well, we'd like to thank again the stewardship team for this great experience today and all the people who helped. Liz Curtis, Ed Law. Ed, where's your hubby?
I don't know.
Okay, Ed's here somewhere. Okay, Lee Nichols, I saw Lee over here, right there. Sue Keene is not here. Yvette Strickland is right here. And Charlie Mitchell, where are you, Charlie?
He's gone.
He's gone. Okay, anyway.
And of course, Reverend Terry.
And speaking of Reverend Terry, shall we tell everyone what we found out from Reverend Terry?
Yeah, let's do. Okay, you ready?
Reverend
Terry has agreed to stay one more year.
Y'all, I have fallen in love with you, and I've been asking you to do a lot of different things, and that's to stretch and grow, and you're helping me stretch and grow too. I don't come to ministry with all the answers. I come with questions, just like so many of us UUs do. So I want to walk alongside you as we ask more questions and explore meaningful answers for ourselves. So thank you for the opportunity to be here. So now, as we close our service, I'd like to invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join me in singing our hymn, number 34, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire. It'll be on the screen and we're going to sing all verses. Our spirits do long to be made whole. That's why we're here. So with that spirit and the spirit of fellowship, love, and understanding, may you go in peace today. Let's sit for our postlude. Michael is going to be joining us again in March, and we look forward to that. May you go in peace.